Hello, good morning, afternoon, and evening. Thank you for joining us for this USAID and Reliance Foundation Women Connect India Speaker Series 3.0 webinar. I'm your host, Ritesh Datta, and I'm looking forward to the exciting discussion planned for the next 1 hour. Women Connect India Challenge, since it was rolled out in 2021, has already supported 17 fantastic Indian nonprofits to bridge the gender digital divide in their target communities at scale. And these grantees, in turn, have worked hard to develop innovative tools, frameworks to reach, engage, and empower women as part of this grand challenge. Over the next 1 month, we celebrate some of those solutions that our previous awardees have developed, while using this opportunity to offer some ideas for design and partnerships for solutions and tools they plan to build as part of their interventions to combat the gender digital divide. Today, we discuss two such solutions by Women Connect India Challenge awardees, ZMQ Development and Development Alternatives. To share more about these solutions, we have with us Subhi Qureshi, Jyoti Sharma, and Muskan Chawla. To get the discussion started, let me now invite Subhi for a brief introduction about him before that. Subhi Qureshi is the CEO of ZMQ Development. He has designed multiple technology-led development projects. He has pioneered a social game initiative and is currently working on a program called Mobile for All, aimed at achieving universal right to connectivity as a right to life. Thank you, Subhi, for taking the time to be with us today. Over to you.
Hello, hi, Ritesh.
Hi.
Thank you very much, and we thank Women Connect Challenge program for inviting us to present what we have done with the program in the previous term in the first India Challenge, and it will be my pleasure to introduce as the CEO of ZMQ to introduce the program. And hello to everyone who's there, and I hope that we give you some different perspective of how we are using technology, and here we are. Thank you. So hello everybody, and good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are. And see, ZMQ is a technology for development social enterprise. We are set up as a not-for-profit organization. Last, in fact, we are celebrating 25th year of our presence, of our being as an organization which is into digital transformation, and we are actually start the whole ZMQ movement started from India in 1998, and we are now in Africa, and we have an international NGO in Montreal, which is catering to east of Francophone Africa. And we believe that Mahatma Gandhi, as the father of innovative technologies, he used Charkha as a technology piece to revolutionize the whole freedom movement. And so we are on the principles of on the Gandhian principles, and we believe technology needs to be designed for those who need it the most. And one such project that we have done with under Women Connect Challenge India is called the Talking Comics about developing entrepreneurship training with self-help groups in Noor district in Mewat, which is also called Mewat district. And we in under this program, basically as a technology for development organization, we there are different areas where due to which there is a gender digital divide. But one of the key areas that we as a technology designer we have identified is the lack of content and the lack of design in the products that addresses the need of women, and specifically women in rural settings, that is the low literate or in complex settings, or you can say in low resource settings, how to design appropriate content for the need of the women. So this is one of the very big gap areas despite other things, and we were addressing this whole issue. We have been addressing in many of our program, but in this particular program where we were to train women as entrepreneurs under a structured approach of SHGs, we took up this whole program, and the model of our design is based on how with the participatory approach of women, we can design content for them. That is, they participate, they tell their stories, we pick the stories from the communities and design for them. Then in the process of digitization also, we take help of the local community in form of the art form, the voiceovers. So it is actually micro level customization of tools for the communities, which can be consumed by them in building the whole training component. So whole training program. So under this, when we started building, so the innovation and or whatever the solution, it is about collaborative designing, scaling deep is about getting into the communities and extracting knowledge and knowledge components from the communities, and building active ground so that the the people on the ground understand what we are doing and why are we doing it, so that the uptake of the whole solution is good. And we are using SHG network because SHGs are organized human networks, as we call them, OHNs. And layering technology in an organized network is much easier than in isolated networks or isolated human networks where you're designing for everyone and for one individual, or distributed people. So that you and SHG also provision you an ideal classroom of a size of 20. So even in our schools in uptowns, the school size, classroom size is not 20, it is much more than 20. Often we see it is 40. But the SHG model, which is from 10 to 20 women in a group, is an ideal size for imparting any kind of knowledge to the groups. So we took on this, and so our whole approach of design is that we set up labs with the women, because uh, we know what is entrepreneurship, what are the key components of entrepreneurship, ideation, to all the other things like business development, market linkages and all. But how do you do it with the communities on the ground is when you go to the communities and learn from them how are they doing it. So we selected on 25 leading SHGs who are performing better than rest of the others, and adapted the whole courseware from their stories and their approaches, and build a whole digital courseware on with six units, from ideation to business development to marketing to packaging to distribution, and building linkages with the market around the community. So we have two ways of doing it. We do game labs or we do storytelling labs, from where we extract all the knowledge and then document it as storyboards and then take it to the decks to digitize it. In the process of digitization, we take special you know uh, mm, uh, focus on how do we get local voices, local voiceovers, local art forms, so that people identify with it. Something coming from, say, a city content may not be appropriately consumed by the communities, but if it is designed within the communities, if the design of the content is from the community, if the voiceover, even the dialect, to the level of dialect, we ensure that the dialect is maintained, whether it is Mewati Hindi or Urdu, or it is Odia or Santali, whichever language we are working with, it has to be this. So then we started building comics around the whole courseware. This is the list of course that we had created: concept of enterprise and ideation, business development plan, how to design a business development plan, product and services, pricing and record keeping, packaging and quality control, building market linkages. And market linkages also very specific to a community, because you find whatever is available around the community, you have to design for that. So it is everything is very micro level design and customization. And the general the generic modules were laid out as pre-test, module based story for a particular module, then a course based in intensive course based modules, and then end story which tells you having done this one, and then a post test, so that we are able to evaluate the learning within the groups and of individuals as well. And we had a whole classroom management system built on top of it, where we register in SHG, we register all the members of SHG. We are able to track how many modules have been delivered, how many modules each individual has taken, what is their performance of every module that they are doing, and whether they need further assistance while, or there's a need to redo a module again with them and play the module with them. And the mode of dissemination is also uh, quite different, quite uh, uh, varied. There's a dissemination mode where it is a teacher-led, or you can say instructor-led dissemination mode, like what you see in this picture. Then there is a mode where one-on-one is there, where, and there is a mode where women themselves can download and play and register their SHGs, and as an individual they can play this. And these were all made available at the community radio station, even at the panwala shops around, at the tailor shops where women go. We had made this available for women to know and be able to, and we had trained all these points how to disseminate, how to distribute this whole thing. And the other mode is where it is a classical classroom mode where 10 to 20 women each are holding their own devices, and they are using it across the group, and they share with each other the problem. So there is no instructor, but the one facilitator from within the group initiates it and then takes it through, and it becomes very easy for every woman to synchronize and learn and share, and if they get stuck up, they can do it. So, but everything has a back-end tracking system where you're able to track everything, and then the whole design model is open source. The content is available open source. If we need to adapt it, like this particular scenario is for, we have done it for 50,000 women under SHGs in Odisha, in Mayurbhanj, plus 6 other districts all around, and it was in Santali language, which does not even have a script. So we used Odia script with Santali language as a support thing. So we, to refurbish it and to reformat all this course in a new language is easy. We just need to replace the files. But yes, some contextualization of designs, graphics, market space, what that they are catering to, needs to be adapted and redone. And so the whole course is available as a available for distribution, for localization, for anybody in the groups. If they're looking at this course where they want to run this course and learn and use it in their groups, they may need, if they want to do it in a new geography, they'll need to come to us for adaptation. Rest all is available, and it is under Creative Commons. We actually give it, just need attribution, and it's non-commercial, for non-commercial distribution. And this, so this is by far what I wanted to say, but and I'll be very happy to respond to any questions that may come my way during this whole session. Thank you.
Thank you, Subi. I think you made some very, very important points. Uh, you mentioned that, when we talk about technology for development, it's not just technology, but also the content that becomes very important. You talked about incorporating indigenous knowledge when you're designing such solutions, and so many other important points. I'm sure all of us will have a lot of questions for you during the Q&A session. Thank you for that, Subi. Uh, Now, let me sort of turn to development alternatives, our next organization, which is going to present, and development alternatives is being represented by Jyoti, who leads the initiatives designed to build capacity of women for livelihoods. Jyoti specializes in converting successful tools and processes for sustainable development into products and services for social entrepreneurship. Along with Jyoti, we also have Muskan, who is a knowledge building, product development, and a macro evaluation specialist at DA. Over to you, Muskan and Jyoti.
Thank you, Ritesh. So before we start quickly, I'll speak about the development alternatives in one line. We call ourselves as world's first social enterprise. It's been 40 years that been we've been researching and bringing up with solutions which are socially equitable, environmentally sound, and economically scalable. So as part of it, we work with, as mentioned, we work with communities, environment, and of course, the models to replicate and scale the solutions to solve the problems of the world. Uh, as part of it, we were also one of the grantees in Women Connect Challenge. That's how we are here. And we called our solution as Tara We Act. Um, in which this was whole process. We started with awareness to building capacities in terms of imparting digital literacy, and then connecting it to the economic empowerment. So while I'll talk about the digital inclusion tools for bridging digital divide in detail, the second component, but quickly to talk about the awareness. Uh, as all of you already know, there exists a lot of reservations in society for women using the smartphone. So in the first step, we targeted that belief in terms of generating support for them in using campaign in which various games and media and focus group discussions, radio jingles, through a media mix of tools. We you know uh, went and talked to the community, specifically the open makers, the male members, to understand what stops them, to provide access to the women, or what they think that if women get the access, what would change, and thereby telling them what could change. So, and in that particular process, we also spoke to women, and that's how we learned that, what content should we be delivering. So we named our campaign as Faide Ki Ghanti, and based on the campaign, the learnings in the campaign, we designed a digital literacy toolkit. So that's how you see, Faide Ki Ghanti. Uh, the screen says जब होगा फोन औरत के पास तब फायदा होगा सबका. So why Faide Ki Ghanti? uh, the geography where we were piloting this toolkit, or where we were doing this project, we had already worked with neo-literate women and there were semi-literate women. We had been working on a Tara Akshar program for imparting a elementary literacy solution to women in rural India, and we've already, imparted literacy and basic numeracy skills to roughly 2.5 lakh women in India. And during that process, we also realized, what kind of subjects, topics, and what kind of issues women face, and what would interest them. Because if we realize that, if we go and tell them that learn phone, or you should be operating phone, but it would not have, actually rung the bell with them, because it was important to make them understand why and how is it going to help them. So on the basis of that, we developed the content. The toolkit is this. If this is visible, uh, toolkit is in the form of a stack of cards which has QR codes on it. So it's replicable and scalable. So the toolkit I'm talking about is a pack of cards which has 23 lesson cards and 12 session cards. It imparts basic digital literacy in 24 days. It has on each card there is a QR code which women scan, and after scanning they see they have option of videos on a particular topic, and they see those videos and they learn about that particular topic, and also how to operate phone. So the idea of making this toolkit is to provide them the women-centric content, and meanwhile they also learn how to do it themselves. So it's based on DIY approach, and as it's a stack of cards, nothing bulky, easy to carry for trainers also, uh, and easy to operate. So it is scalable and replicable. And we utilize the open source material, as in like we have compiled, we realized that there was enough of material already in the market. So we just compiled it together, what would interest them. And this is also easily changeable in terms of this is customizable. This can be changed in terms of language, in terms of content. So that's why it's highly scalable. It has the lesson cards consist of 5 parts. These are, front and back of the lesson cards. So there are 5 color-coded modules like the stack of cards. Module 1 talks about know your smartphone or smartphone se jaan pehchan, where they know about the buttons of smartphone. But this is only for Android. Contact connecting the world using smartphone, getting to know about the Play Store, how to download various apps from Play Store. Module 2 talks about how it makes their life easy. How can they communicate? How can they share pictures? What government schemes they can access to? How can they make reservations to for train? Module 3 talks about the health, primarily, accessing government advisories, consulting with doctors or internet. What are the safe searches on YouTube or internet? And how can they share the verified information through WhatsApp? Module 4 talks about managing finances, online banking, accessing net banking platforms, different methods of saving, learn to shop. And module 5 talks about it's named as smartphone se smart bano. This is primarily this is slightly at a higher level where they can make their own videos and create their own YouTube channel from the perspective of if they're already an entrepreneur or already doing some sort of income generation activity, so they can do that. This is the back end, as in like one chapter has this kind of description. There are 4 videos or 5 videos. Then these videos, when they scan these videos, open, and then they see these videos. But before that, I've already spoken about the process of development. It's based on the learnings of Tara Akshar gathered over the years, and we also did a small baseline survey while we were doing this 5 Ki Ghanti campaign through various tools, where we understood, how would men think. Then we had like two-way interaction, understood the reservations from the community and told them, if what if your wife had phone, so how would it change that uh, that the the school group had her number? How would it change your life? If your wife could do banking, how could it change their life? And then also spoke to women, what would you want to do? If you are unwell, so would you want to talk to doctor yourself, or you look for Anganwadi Didi? What if she's on chutti? So what if she's on leave? Then so they wanted to know information about weather. And in fact, we integrated certain. So when we did this campaign earlier, based on the learnings of previous program, we already had an outline. And then based on the learnings of baseline and the campaign, we integrated the various, subjects and various areas of interest and added few more videos in our toolkit. Talking about the mode of delivery. So first we had a TOT for the representatives from the community. We call them Tara Saheli like friends, Tara Saheli. These women were trained on how to use, they already knew how to, operate phone well. They were either graduates or 12th class. We In this toolkit particularly, there also is an instruction manual for a trainer, which takes them through how to do and what to do day by day. And there are various session plans also and various motivational cards also, which also engage the women in interesting activities like taking up selfies on a particular day, dressing up for the day. Um, Everything is linked to one or the other digital process. Initially, we had got smart tablets for the class, as in but then the need from the community that if they operate tablet, then how can they operate phone? I mean, it has to be the same model. So we got tablets and smartphones both in the class. So also motivated women to get their own phones. This model was implemented in Lalitpur in 16 villages, and 800 plus women got the knowledge of digital literacy in 50 plus batches through 16 Tara Sahelis. So we had 16 villages. Every day had two batches ongoing for 2 hours. So already spoken about training of trainers. Challenges and mitigation. Uh, Internet aware. Since this is based on the open source, the videos which are already available on internet, on YouTube and other open source material. So internet was very important. So we were successful in motivating women to get internet packs, and also what for the instructor, which through connecting two or three phones we got internet for, and then created a hotspot and given the internet to others. Uh, Initial reluctance was from families that women were making their own videos, chatting on WhatsApp and circulating. But later on, after counseling, it was sorted. Uh, how did it reflected on ground? Now, I mean, it was very interesting. We, we realized earlier when we started in the beginning, we thought we could probably have a book or a manual, Then we realized this particular cards were very handy for them. They would want to take it in their own hand and scan it, and then doing it themselves was very interesting for them and motivating for them. So we realized that if we measured it on in terms of knowledge, attitude, and practice, they learned how to make calls, capture photos, videos. They made such interesting videos of their own. There was an activity where they were giving a given particular situation, so they had made situational videos. They knew how to log their phones, then availing government schemes. In fact, one of the classes where there were spice sellers, they realized they did not have FSSAI certificate. So in the class, during the class itself, they applied for that certificate and got the certificate. Uh, then, very interestingly, as I said, that it was also linked with economic empowerment. So it was also one of the agenda was also to assess their aspiration levels, the women who would want to move to the next level. So in this particular, in these particular classes, when they were going through one of the Twitter and one of the days when they were introduced to social media, Twitter and all. So one of them asked them, what can Twitter help us to get rid of the garbage in our village? And then they did a tweet, and then it happened, and then it resulted in radio our Mojo rural mobile journalism course, and then we found a suitable partner, and then that particular course was done as the third leg of the project. In fact, in terms of attitude also, earlier families and women used to think that, um, smartphone would distract them from their family duties or housework, or probably, might have unsafe made contact. But during the, we compare the baseline and endline survey, then it shows there has been tremendous, increase in the trust factor. the new belief that women now have that smartphone is a key for modern living and self-reliance and safety. So now they know that they can refer to this particular site when they need a particular information about health, finance, or even beauty. uh, they started using uh, smartphone as for banking. Be it certain, there was different scales. Certain women would just were happy doing WhatsApp, sending pictures to their families about festivals and other things, and other women started sending monies, getting monies. There were today's, in fact, Raksha Bandhan, when brothers gift some something or money to their sisters. So I remember last year they were happy to receive Paytm and Google Pay from their brothers. Then incomes of entrepreneurs who were already, involved in certain kind of income generation activity. It benefited from the access to internet, particularly new designs. They could access to, if I talk about the tailoring enterprises. Uh, about this particular toolkit, the way forward, in as part of this presentation, the first tool which I presented is called 5AP Hunty. Other two tools which my colleague Muskan would be presenting it would be for particularly for entrepreneurship and income enhancement kind of interventions. So we thought it would be useful. Those tools were not developed in part as part of Women Connect Challenge, but we thought it would be useful to talk about it if any of the grantees are interested in that. So this particular toolkit which I'm talking about is being used currently in all other project locations. It's available for other CSOs, partners, and NGOs. Soft copy is available. For the printed copy, there has to be a certain price, and for the TOT services, it's slightly very minimal paid services which we have, and we are on talks with various government organizations to use it for capacity building schemes for particularly for self-help groups. Over to you, Muskan.
Thanks, Jyoti. And Ritesh, I assume we are running behind the schedule. So in the interest of time, I'll be as brief as possible and quick as
Sure,
possible.
sure.
Very good evening to all. Jyoti, can you go to the previous slide, please? So before beginning and giving an introduction of regarding various tools, I really want to spend 30 seconds on the work DA Development Alternative is being doing since last 7 years in the field of inclusive entrepreneurship. So since for last 7 years, we have been promoting inclusive entrepreneurship in rural India in 7 districts of India with the aim to promote entrepreneurship and to address the rapidly growing job crisis. And till date, we have supported almost 8,500 enterprises, and with the aim to make entrepreneurship accessible to all so that it reaches all the entrepreneurs. And also to enable entrepreneurs to expand their businesses, we have developed certain tools. These tools are either digital in nature or promote enterprises to go digital. So I'll give a brief description on both the tools. Jyoti, can you please move to the next slide?
Muskan, I don't know, it's not moving.
Okay. Wait, let me just.
I'll just reshare again.
Muskan, do you just want to keep talking about it, maybe?
Yeah. So the first tool that I'll be.
Yeah.
So the first tool that I'll be talking about is Buddy Box. As we have seen that rapid digitization has pushed entrepreneurs from their usual way or traditional ways of doing business towards the adoption of digital technology in business operations. And leveraging these digital technologies will help the enterprise expand their operations. And while we were listening to communities, it was conveyed, and we realized that entrepreneurs are cognizant of various digital platforms that are available, but they don't know how to use them and how to register themselves on those platforms. So for instance, a entrepreneur sitting in a village of Orcha, Uttar Pradesh, is aware of a platform like Amazon, but he's unaware of how to become a seller on such a platform. And this is to address such challenges, we co-created this solution named BuddyBox. It is a do-it-yourself toolkit where entrepreneurs themselves can go through the whole BuddyBox, the toolkit, and can digitalize their business operation. So it was developed with a major objective to bridge the information gap that exists in the form of information that is available with respect to various digital platforms that are available in the market. Jyoti, next slide. So to give a brief introduction of what BuddyBox includes, it includes 3 interactive components, including introductory cards, information module, and cue cards. And as it is a do-it-yourself toolkit, it is designed in a way that a user or the entrepreneur can easily navigate through various components of BuddyBox. So, for instance, there is a self-assessment form which is color-coded. So, based on the answers provided in the self-assessment form, the entrepreneur can go to the desired module, access the content of the desired module, and every module has a cue card associated with that module. So to give one example, suppose if an entrepreneur wants to learn how to register on a platform such as PhonePe or Google Pay, so he can go to the digital payments module, he can learn the steps, he can learn the prerequisites to register on such platform, and with the help of cue cards, he can actually himself register on such a platform. Jyoti, next slide, please. If I talk about the impact, it's been around 1 year that we have been rolling BuddyBox in our working geographies, and till date, 1,000 entrepreneurs have been using digital payments, and it has also enabled them to showcase their transaction digitally. It is in a way helping them to make credit history for themselves. Also, more than 300 entrepreneurs have started using WhatsApp Business, YouTube, Amazon, Etsy to enhance their customer base and sell their products. I really want to give one example from ground. Aarti, she is from Bundelkhand region, and in 2017 she started her flour processing and snacks manufacturing unit. And since she was introduced to BuddyBox, she used the module of BuddyBox. Now she is receiving more than 40% of her orders from WhatsApp group. And that too, she receives her payments from online platforms such as PhonePe. So in a way, it's bringing change within the community. She has created a local WhatsApp group of her neighbors, and people just place their order on the WhatsApp group, and her business is growing rapidly. Next slide, Jyoti. That was all regarding BuddyBox. This is a second tool named Udyami Vani. This has been developed with Gram Vani. If Ritesh, I know you are an ex-colleague of Gram Vani, so I take pride in saying that this specific tool was developed with Gram Vani. And before delving deep into what the tool is about or what does it do, let me spend 30 seconds on what was the need from the ground that made us realize that there is a need for such a tool. So we have seen that youth, and most importantly women, remain excluded from the mainstream economy. And when it comes to entrepreneurship, women take the back seat. We all know what's the female labor force participation rate. We are well aware of that only 20% of MSMEs are currently being run by women. So women are the ones who always take the backseat. And there are systemic barriers in the ecosystem that inhibit women to access critical information, resources, and opportunities. So, and to add to it, there are existing development programs, but all of those programs are, I would say, top down, in which communities have little or no say to choose what's best for them. And this somehow leads to the problem of unheard voices and suppressed strength. Keeping all this in mind, Uddami Vani tool was created with Gram Vani. To give a brief description of what Gram Vani does, it's an organization working on IVRS and ICT based audio media platforms for communities. And with them, we created this tool, Uddami Vani. Uddami Vani is as the name suggests, it's Vani, voice to the entrepreneurs. And it's also an IVRS based platform that empowers underserved communities. And it provides enterprise support services. It's a digital platform, IVRS based platform that provides enterprise support services in providing linkages to market, to finance, to technology, and most importantly, information. And the objective behind creating such a tool was to build a solidarity platform where entrepreneurs have a collective voice. And when their voices are heard, it is then when their innate entrepreneurial talents get unleashed. And it also serves the purpose of triggering collective action, because it is a tool that connects entrepreneurs with other entrepreneurs. It also connects entrepreneurs with stakeholders working in entrepreneurship space, and it also connects entrepreneurs with service providers. So it gives entrepreneurs a window to it gives entrepreneurs a plethora of opportunities to choose from. So the entrepreneur gets the choice option. Next slide, Jyoti. This would be the last slide. So if you are curious about how Uddami Vani works, so it's as simple as an entrepreneur gets a toll-free number, and entrepreneur gives a missed call to this toll-free number and receives a call back. And based on what information does he want to listen to, he navigates through the playlist. Playlist has various pre-recorded content on entrepreneurship, and then the unique thing of this is it's not a one-way communication that entrepreneur is just listening to the content. Entrepreneur can also participate. It's sort of a two-way communication. Entrepreneur can share their entrepreneurial journey. Entrepreneur can also ask queries and also answer to other queries. And once the content gets uploaded, it's moderated, reviewed by the Gram Vani or development alternatives team. And when it is finalized, it's up on the platform. And if required, the entrepreneurs are also connected to specific case handlers and supporting executive who can provide customized enterprise support services. And for us, this tool also serves as a listening platform. So we can listen to the communities, we can know what are the emerging needs of the communities, and then we can design solutions based on what communities are saying. And in last 4 months, we have outreach to around 38,000 individuals, and almost 19,000 individuals are active listeners on this platform. And around 900 individuals have already started receiving enterprise support services and are on their way to become entrepreneur. So I'll stop here. If I really want to ask if we have 2 more extra minutes. I really wanted to show one video from the ground, and it's a pure example of how an entrepreneur is using digital platform like Amazon and is selling his products and selling even through Etsy.
Yeah, sure, Muskan. I mean, so we are running short on time, but if you can quickly show it, it will be good.
Yeah, thanks, Ritesh, for accommodating that. It only take 2 minutes. I'll share the screen.
Meanwhile, she's sharing, I'll just show this is how digital literacy toolkit looks like. Yeah, and it has,
Yeah, can I start?
Yeah, Muskan, please.
Is the voice audible?
Yes, Muskan.
Yeah.
कुछ लोग कहते हैं कि बिजनेस तो स्टार्ट कर लिया तो उसको मार्केट कहाँ है, उसको कस्टमर्स कहाँ है, हम कहाँ सेल करें। मेरा जो बिजनेस है वो कस्टमाइज प्रिंटिंग सर्विस का है। हम इसके साथ में ई कॉमर्स प्लेटफॉर्म पर भी सेल करते हैं अपने प्रोडक्ट, जो कि है अमेज़ॉन, मीशो, फ्लिपकार्ट एंड एटसी। जो ऑर्डर्स आते थे वो काफ़ी कम आते थे मेरे पास जब ऑफलाइन मार्केट में था। उसके बाद फिर मुझे दिक्कत आई कि सेलिंग भी नहीं हो रही उतनी। मैंने कहा मैं बिज़नेस स्टार्ट किया तो फिर मैंने उसको क्या किया कि एक अपॉर्चुनिटी में बदल दिया। अपॉर्चुनिटी क्या थी कि मुझे एक ई कॉमर्स दिखा, तो मैंने कहा इसमें मैं सभी को सेल कर सकता हूँ। तो ई कॉमर्स इतना अच्छा प्लेटफॉर्म है कि हम गांव में भी रह के कहीं भी ऑल इंडिया ऑल वर्ल्ड में सामान अपना भेज सकते हैं। तो ऐसे हम कह सकते हैं कि अगर हम यहाँ अपनी सिटी में है निवाड़ी में, तो मैं सिर्फ यहाँ पे 100 लोग हैं, 200 लोग हैं, 500 लोग हैं, सिर्फ उन पे ही सीमित हूँ। अगर ई कॉमर्स में जाता हूँ तो मेरे पास खुला है आसमान कि मैं किसी को भी सेल कर सकता हूँ कहीं पे भी। अभी करीब अमेज़ॉन पे 6 करोड़ कस्टमर्स हैं। 6 करोड़ कस्टमर सिर्फ इंडिया के हैं, और अगर वर्ल्ड की बात करें तो पता नहीं कितने कह सकते हैं। मेरे साथ काम करते हैं जो गौरव हैं, और उन्हें करीब मेरे साथ 1 साल हो गया है। तो 1 साल में वो मेरा सारा काम सीख चुके हैं कि मैं कैसे काम करता हूँ। सारी चीज़ उन्हें समझ आती है कि मैं वर्क कैसे कर रहा हूँ। मैं मेजर में प्लान कर रहा हूँ अपना खुद का एक वेबसाइट होगा, एक ऐप होगा मेरी कंपनी का। तो उसके बाद इसको एक ई कॉमर्स साइट होगी जो कि ऑल इंडिया में सेल करेगी। एक अपना मैं ब्रांड बना दूंगा। तो मैंने सोचा कि इंटरनेशनल भी ट्राई करते हैं। मुझे एक इंटरनेशनल ऑर्डर आया था अभी, जो कि यूएस से था, तो मैं सक्सेसफुली डिलीवर कर चुका हूँ। डीए ने हेल्प की, फाइनेंशियली काफ़ी हेल्प की, और जिससे मैंने मशीन खरीदी और अपना सेटअप किया सारा, और काफ़ी उन्होंने ट्रेनिंग भी दी, गाइडेंस भी दिया, जिनकी वजह से मैं आज काफ़ी अच्छा कर रहा हूँ।
Great. Thank you for that, Muskan.
Thank
I think
you.
thank you. And thank you, Jyoti, Muskan. These were great insights into the products that you're designing. Let me quickly open up the conversation. Friends, I've sort of put in a chat asking you all to use the raise your hand function if you have any questions for our speakers. We have a few minutes to take a few questions. Okay. While you all are thinking through it, I had a question for Subhi. And this is, I think, also in context to what Jyoti was talking about, uh, you know, behavior change and using the knowledge, attitude, and practices model, uh, you know, as you sort of push for uptake. Any thoughts on that? How did you all do it? You did cover it, but I thought it might be good to talk a little more about it. Subhi, you're on mute. Sorry.
Yeah. So basically, our design model is bottom up in design. It's not only bottom up in dissemination, but in design. So in order to build in behavioral change practices, we need to first deep dive into the communities and understand how are they, is their understanding about the world, what is their understanding about the digital world, and what all are they able to, and then you use their own knowledge base, their own context, their own design forms, and start building. And once they are part of the movement, there is a quick behavior change. One, there's another thing that you are importing things from outside and asking them to change, and it's another different movement when you are using the ground resources, the community, and making them participate in the whole design. So it is like revolutionizing the digital movement bottom up. So the behavioral change is very fast, and because they feel, they are part of the revolution. They are not outside the whole play of digital, that they are a beneficiary or just a mere beneficiary of or a state. So you have to make them stakeholders to and bring them. And I personally believe that we have been consuming imported content so much that it's high time that the grassroots content adapted for different needs, for health, for entrepreneurship, everything needs to be accelerated so that there's a larger uptake of digital services for community benefit.
Thank you for that, Subhi. Tejashwini, I see your hand up. You can maybe just unmute
Yeah,
yourself and ask a question. Yeah.
thank you. My question actually for all three of them, but it came to my mind when I was seeing Jyoti's cards. I wanted to ask, how much of a challenge was literacy with the communities you were working? And if it was a challenge, what kind of design adaptations did you make to overcome that challenge? Others also, in case there are insights.
Tejaswini, as I mentioned earlier, or probably I do not elaborate it in detail, that when we were doing this a particular project, the women were either semi-literate or literate because we had already worked extensively in that region on the literacy bit. So literacy was not a challenge for us. They at least had basic elementary knowledge of understanding the digits and the basic letters. So that's how. But in terms of this particular toolkit, as it is scan this thing based scan codes are there, so this can be customized, like when you particularly scan this QR code, the list of videos open currently, that is in terms of written script, but we can put icons on that. So that is one solution can be introduced. Shubhi and Muskan, if you want to share something on this.
Just so basically, for anything that you're doing for the communities, you have to use the local design formats. You have to. We generally think that there's illiteracy, but there is enough local knowledge components, the icons, the stories, the design, the graphics, even the art forms. There's so many of them that if you look at the whole of Odisha, they do their wall painting in the local worldly script, and they tell their stories in that. So they are literate in their own art forms, and we need to pick on from the art form that they know about, and we need to educate ourselves. How do we use those art forms to tell their story and use as so as a we use comic format, which is localized voiceovers. So whole courseware are designed with local voiceovers, local art forms, and we cannot do it without the participation of the communities, because we have no clue about the local design forms and local languages. So they participate, they design, and it takes off.
Thank you, Subhi, for that. Muskan, did you want to add something?
No, I think Jyoti and Subhi covered it all. And I completely agree that communities should be the one leading the solutions, so that because the solution is being made for them, so community should be the one taking charge of solutions. We can only be the facilitators in that sense. And that's all.
Thank you, Muskan. We have another question on the chat for Subhi. I'll just come to that, but I wanted to say that we will not be able to take any more questions. But if you're part of the Women Connect Challenge community of practice, you can always reach out to Subhi, Jyoti, Muskan, or write to me, and I'm happy to connect you to them directly if you're not already connected. Coming to the question, Subhi, Naresh from Manjari Foundation has asked, what is the Rural Games Lab?
See, basically, rural games labs is a way to extract information from the communities. So when we go into the communities and we are learning about a particular issue that we want to understand better, so we set up these rural game labs where we have community as participants, even local experts, local NGOs participate in that, and we design games with them on the issues that we want to interact with this. It has dual purpose. The purpose is for us to get the best information out of those game lab interactions, and also for the communities to be easily able to share there's no strict format. It is runtime design game labs where we play games on different issues and understand, and then document those game lab outputs as inputs for our next level design, where, as Muskan said, where we work as facilitators and use their instructions, their knowledge to rebuild into a new tool.
Thank you, Suvi. Tanya has a question for you, Jyoti, but maybe if you can just take a minute to answer. What if some of the learning cards gets misplaced? How do women?
So,
Yeah.
so Taras Saheli was responsible to ensure that the game cards are safe when they go back to their classes. And the homeworks, there were certain assignments as homeworks. Either they were sent on their phones, or particular card was given. So Taras Saheli, the facilitator, was responsible for it.
Thank you for that, Jyoti. I'm sure there are so many other questions that have come up and will come up, but we will have to sort of move towards closing our conversation. Um, I wanted to say that we do want to understand, for all of you participating, how the relevant and engaging this conversation for you. We have a short survey, maybe a 1 or 2 question survey, the link for which will be shared by my colleagues on the chat. Uh, Please take a minute to respond to those surveys. And while yeah, it's already there. Do take a minute. I also wanted to say that we have our colleagues from Reliance Foundation and USAID here today. Hi Satish, hi Ritika from USAID. And we have Achal from the Reliance Foundation. Achal, as most of you know, is the program development lead at Reliance Foundation and has been actively involved with the Women Connect Challenge. Achal, any words of wisdom?
Not wisdom per se, Ritesh, but I would just like to say that one of the objectives through this community of practice was to build that space to facilitate cross learnings amongst all of us. And so in helping us do that, I like to thank both the ZMQ and Development Alternatives. So Subi, Jyoti, Muskan, thank you for coming and sharing your tools with us. And beyond the tools, your insights on, through the development process of these tools as well as the implementation. So really thank you for that. And I'm sure they should also add some more insights as he's closing. But on that note, I also wanted to mention that the WCC team would be reaching out to both the past as well as current awardees about a blog post for the community of practice platform on the tools that you have developed or are developing on countering the digital gender divide. So please look out for that email. But thank you for sharing your insights with us. Back to you, Ritesh.
Thank you, Achal, and thank you for mentioning. So we do want these products, these solutions, these tools that are being developed to counter gender digital divide, that more and more of organizations, at least to start with, within the Women Connect Challenge community, starts learning from, using, deploying, and sort of looking at partnering with organizations which have already done that. And we are happy to facilitate, and we would be reaching out to all of you to better understand the products or the tools, the frameworks that you've built or you're planning to build. And yes, we will be bothering you with asking you to write posts about that on the community of practice site for the Women Connect Challenge. So with that, I think we have already run 4 minutes beyond time. I apologize for those extra time that we took, but thank you for staying with us. Until our next rendezvous, have a great day. Thank you so much. Bye-bye.
Thanks everyone.
Bye-bye.
Thank you, everyone.